Hello.
Dennis?
Yes, is this David?
This is me.
Wow. This is
How are you, man?
This is a big honor. We have David Cassidy, the legendary, the great David Cassidy on the phone with us today.
Oh, please. Flattery gets you everywhere with me. No.
So,
how you doing?
Great. And I just wanted to start off the conversation here with the fact that your concert was the first concert that I ever went to back in 1972, Madison Square Garden. My sister took me, and it was a great show. And I happened to have the full color booklet right here in my hand. I still have it. Who would have thought?
Oh man, that's so cool. Thank you.
40 years later.
I really genuinely appreciate that when people tell me stories like you just told me, and I'm very flattered, and I thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was great.
I remember that day vividly because my grandparents lived in West Orange, and my grandfather came to see me. It was the first and only time he got to see me before he passed away, and I spent my early days, from the time I was 5 to 11, living with him. And my mom, after my mom and dad were separated and then divorced, and I went to grammar school in West Orange and moved to California when I was 11. So I have a lot of great memories. And that one in particular, because my dad also came, and
right.
Shirley also came. So I'm glad you were there, man.
Yeah, it was great.
I'm coming back to New Jersey.
Oh, yes, I know. That's what we're going to talk about today, and I will be there, too. That's funny. I was there 40 years ago. Now I'm going to be at your show again 40 years later. So,
cool.
But the one thing I want to talk about today, a little different, that I want to get to know kind of the rock and roll side of David Cassidy. And
yes, indeed.
For example, I have the Partridge Family Sound Magazine album in my hand right here. And on the back, they have a picture of you and Shirley and have your favorite things. And the song you list as your favorite song is The Thrill Is Gone by B.B. King. Now,
indeed.
Does that still hold true?
At the time.
Does that still hold true to today?
Oh, yeah. I can't really say it's my favorite song still, but
one of them.
It's one of my favorites of BB's, and I think I talked about it with the band last week, and we were performing last week in Cleveland, and I put one of my favorite BB King songs in, and I'll do it again.
Oh, great!
Yeah, I have a 3:00 show, which I haven't done. What would be like a matinee.
Right.
I haven't done one of those in maybe a decade, so I'm doing that in a 7:30 show at the New Jersey PAC.
Right. Yes, I will be at that show. Yes, the 3:00 show.
Excellent. Which one are you coming to? The 3:00?
3:00, New Jersey PAC. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes.
Well,
look for me. I will be.
BB song, and I take people on a musical journey of my very fortunate life and time that I was, a teenager, and the Beatles broke when I was 13, and after I saw on the Ed Sullivan Show, I begged my mom and my stepdad to buy me an electric guitar, and I guess I said something convincing because they did, and I started learning Beatles songs.
There you go.
Like 80 million other kids.
Now, will you be doing that kind of stuff in the show?
I do all of my Partridge Family hits and a couple of my favorite songs that weren't released as singles. I also do a couple of my solo hits, and I pay tribute to the people that had enormous influence on me, including my dad, Jack Cassidy. So it's going to be seriously wonderful because I come back, and every time I'm in New York, where I was born and spent the first 5 years, and consequently many times on Broadway and lived in Manhattan. But I spent, as I said, a good 6 years of my formative years in West Orange. So I always feel like it's a homecoming for me.
That's what
it's cool. It's absolutely very cool for me.
Yeah. So that funny you should say that, but I was talking to Felix Cavallari of the Rascals last week, and I know you did a cover.
Love the Rascals.
Yes, you did a cover of "How Can I Be Sure," a great cover of that.
Did.
Will you be playing that
too.
at the show?
I might just do that. I change the set list. I put songs in. I take songs out. I
Mix it
try
up.
people to give people really the whole texture of what my life has been like. And I come from very musical family on my mom's side, and also on my dad's side, who was a very fantastic Irish tenor, and
Of course.
he had an enormous impact on me. So I guess it's natural that I would go in that direction.
Right. So,
but I'm on. I think it's June 25th that I'm there in New Jersey at the PAC.
right.
Yeah, so that'll be cool. I look forward to taking people through my entire life musically.
Yeah.
And that's always inspiring for me because I reveal a lot about myself and where I've been and how I've managed to do what very few people have been able to do and been fortunate enough to do because of my amazing fans. I've told this to people for 40 years that without the love and support that I've had from my fans, I'd be pumping gas somewhere probably.
Yeah. So, as I mentioned, I was talking to Felix Cavallari, and I gave him a good piece of advice that he lives in Nashville, and he loves Ray Charles. So I suggested that he recreate the Ray Charles country album, and he said, "Oh, that's a great idea. I may do that." So I'm pretty good at this. So I think I know what you should do as well. I think you should do a rock album, like get great studio musicians and do like Wind Cries Mary, Jimi Hendrix, Thriller's Gone.
Oh, yeah. Well, then, that's hardly what I would call a rock album.
Right. But then
when you use the term rock, it encompasses an awful lot in a very wide spectrum. I am going to finish the first Christmas album I've done in about 40 years. So,
that would be nice.
Yeah, a lot of my fans have wanted me to do that, and I've found reasons not to by, fortunately, working a lot and doing other projects. But I'm going to finish it, and it'll be out probably in the third quarter, maybe October.
Oh, great.
And, I'm doing some non-traditional as well as, traditional, but with different arrangements. And I've got a remarkable band, and they've been with me for the most part for 15 years now. And it's been amazing. Yeah, they're remarkable. There were actually 3 of them are prodigies, and they do recording sessions as well, and New York and also in Chicago. And it's an exciting time for me, going out and playing, and going to places that I have played before, maybe 40 years ago sometimes. And I just want people to know how genuinely appreciative I am of the love and support that they've given me, and how much I love to play now, more than I ever have.
Yeah, once you come to terms with the whole thing, and then you relax and just have fun now.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's just for me, it's a celebration, of the music, of my hits, of Partridge Family, and my fans, and also the artists that I got to know, like John Lennon, and became a friend of his, and also Yoko, who I love too.
Oh, really?
Wow. Remarkable.
I was going to ask you.
She's a remarkable woman. Very, very genuine, authentic, and is herself a brilliant artist, I think. So it's going to be great. I'm going to have a great time because as I said earlier, it feels like a homecoming to me every time I come back to New Jersey.
Absolutely. So now, there's one thing I don't think you've ever been given the credit for, and that I think you created Johnny Depp's career, because David Cassidy, Man Undercover.
I don't think I created his career, but they did take Man Undercover, and the executive producer saw me a number of years later and said, it was your movie that you did on television that you got nominated for an Emmy for.
Yes.
That inspired 21 Jump Street, and that was certainly a big breakout television series for Johnny Depp. But he's a fantastic actor, and he's proved it.
Absolutely.
To have a career that covers 2 or 3 decades as a movie star is very difficult also. And, he chooses very cutting edge kind of broad spectrum of roles and scripts and ideas. And I think that once you keep surprising people and doing things that they didn't expect you to do, or perhaps plays against your image, and I have been doing that as well.
Right.
Mostly on the stage, and a lot certainly in my recordings and my writing. Writing for television. I wrote a couple themes for television, and I was blessed to have worked around the greatest writers and most fantastic musicians. And I was a neophyte when I came in. I'd never made a recording. There I walk into, these storied, incredible musicians that I worked with. And
like the Wrecking Crew.
It opened the door for me to meet some of my musical heroes, too.
Right. Yeah, like that's one question I wanted to ask, too. You mentioned John Lennon. Like, besides John Lennon, who was the one person you met that you were starstruck around?
I've never been awestruck, but because the Beatles had such an enormous impact on the planet, but certainly on me, and I think those of us that were fortunate enough to be conscious in the 60s. But I would have to probably say John.
Yeah,
he, as a human being, more than anything else, and his insight. And, it was almost like I could start saying a sentence and he could finish it. And he would start talking about what it was like for him. And we were chatting at his apartment in New York, in Manhattan, at the Dakota. And it was remarkable because we started kind of like vibing back and forth and laughing about it. It's like, yeah. And, a lot of it had to do with... the enthusiasm, so to speak, of the fans.
Right.
For that, both of us were genuinely grateful, and he was, as a human being, we should all aspire to be as authentic and genuine, and really be willing to put it out there and everything he believed in. And if you listen to his lyrics, whether it's Imagine or if it's All You Need Is Love, I mean, that's what he was about. Everybody's talking about give peace a chance. And he was willing to risk everything for it in his beliefs. And I think he was as responsible as anyone else, maybe Dylan, and certainly McCartney, Paul Simon, where they wrote about what was, I think, rather controversial at the time. But in retrospect, I think John Lennon, had more to do with changing the planet in a positive way by spreading love and preaching peace. And Lord knows now we need it more than ever.
Yeah,
Don't
absolutely.
you agree? Yeah. I mean, what a wonderful message. And people oftentimes, now like kind of laugh at, what it was like to be a teenager and be a hippie and all that stuff. But there was substance behind it. And that's what the political and social movement was about in the 60s. And I'm lucky that I was a teenager and got to see amazing change in the consciousness in the country and enlightenment, be it through the media itself, but also how, the civil rights movement was incredibly important. And I was just blessed to be born then, and musically seeing some of the greatest bands and individuals, artists that ever lived. I saw Hendrix 4 times.
Oh, man.
I was I think it was Cream's last concert they ever did, that they recorded live at the Santa Monica Civic in L.A.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, I mean, I can't tell you. I mean, I'm blown away by the opportunity now for me to share that with my fans and with the audiences, and doing some things they probably don't expect and probably don't know about me and my own musical journey and the influences that many of them have. And I wrote and became friends with Brian Wilson and Carl Wilson, and I got to collaborate with Harry Nilsson and become his friend, and we had a very genuine respect for one another. Harry was incredibly bright, and magically, his voice was, if you listen to Can't Live If Living Is Without You,
right.
it's just, his version is a masterpiece in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Anyway, it's great talking to you. I look forward to coming back on June 25th at 3 p.m. and at 7:30 p.m. And I really, really look forward to it.
And you have a show this weekend as well, right? June 10th?
Yeah, at Newton. I've never been. I don't know where it is.
It's in Newton, New Jersey.
Newton, New Jersey. I have never been, and
me either.
I'm told that flying into JFK might be a little bit of a schlep, but that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't
sure you'll
mind.
get there.
We'll get there. Oh, yeah. We always fly the day before, and so if there's any problems, I don't miss shows that aren't mine. So I haven't had to do that in many, many, many years.
So one last question before you go. That you were on Celebrity Apprentice, and now I never talk politics, but if Trump wins and he offers you a cabinet position, will you accept it?
The whole concept is so absurd, I can't even grasp it. Yeah, maybe my kitchen cabinet. That's about as far in terms of cabinet I could get. In terms of my own political ideology, I don't think it has anything to do with his. Doesn't remotely resemble it. But we'll see how all of the politics plays out. It's now so different than when even 10 years ago or 15 years ago. With social media has just exploded, and I think President Obama, was through a groundswell of supporters. The internet and everything that has occurred in developing his support and following happened through various forms of media, but certainly social media's enormous impact. I have people coming to me about davidcassidy.com and telling me how much they love the site, and I try and keep it as updated as I can. So go to davidcassidy.com if you want to know more.
Check out all the dates, all the shows coming up. And one last thing, I have to say that I'm the furthest thing from gay, but not there's anything wrong with it, but I think you are the handsomest man I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, thank you, pal.
Do a lot of guys tell you that?
My hair is not quite what it was. But I appreciate you saying that, and I don't agree, but nonetheless, I'm very flattered, and it's a pleasure to talk to you, Dennis.
Yes,
look
thank
forward
you.
to seeing you on June 25th.
Yes, look for me. I'll be taking photos. I'll be covering the show too. I'm a big guy covered with tattoos right in front of the stage. You'll see me. I'll wave.
Man. Okay,
all right. Thanks, David.
Be careful of the crush.
Everyone get out on that tour. See David. It's going to be an awesome show.
Thanks, pal.
All right. Thanks, Dave. Bye.
Goodbye.